get around the topic of boxing when we're talking about anything. And second of all, it's great living with a coach. You know, you live with a coach. I feel like it makes you a better overall fighter compared to a guy that just has a coach. When you living with your coach, it's like you're basically living boxing.
Right. Now you're out of Washington D.C. Tell us a little bit about your background and growing up. What kind of and you're 17, so you still got a lifetime ahead of you. But how has your youth been so far, and how has boxing played a part of it?
My growing up in DC, it was good. I live with my dad all my life, and it's been real cool. I think I done tried almost every sport.
Yeah.
I think I done tried everything except for baseball, and even that I tried t-ball when I was little. Yeah. Everything I did as a kid, my dad always supported me 100%. And yeah, everything was cool. And then, when boxing came into the picture, I feel like that made everything way better. Especially when I.
How has being getting involved in the sport at such an early age, how has that affected you? As far as friends go, as far as schools go, while other kids are out, doing whatever they're doing, you in the gym, you in the lab, you doing work. How has that affected you? Do you not even miss any of that other stuff and just excited about being concentrated in boxing?
Sometimes especially as a young fighter, like a few years back as like a 12 and 13-year-old, sometimes it did get to me a little bit, because there would be times where, like, when my birthday came, ain't no partying or nothing, because you fight in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I didn't even fought on my birthday a couple times. It was always something sometimes on my birthday, and at first it would make me mad, but now that I'm older, like this year on my birthday, I was in the gym.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the gym because the corona, but I was working out on my birthday. Yeah. That meant nothing to me. I was pushing more towards working out. I wasn't even worried about having like a birthday party, so to speak. And yeah, I feel like now that I'm getting older, it doesn't affect me as much. But as a young fighter, it did affect me a lot.
But you got to look at it like this: while everyone else was out, doing their thing, you out traveling the world. So
yeah,
the trade-off, I think you went on the trade-off. Why don't you tell us a little bit how you got connected with Mayweather?
So it all started with more so, I told my dad, I'm thinking about, after I turned 16, I want to turn pro. And because of course, the Olympics, you have to be 19 to qualify for the trials and all that. And I knew that in order for me to have a chance to fight in the Olympics, I have to wait till 2024. And by 2024, they could have a new favorite. You know how boxing is. So I was like, yeah, Dad, I want to go pro. And so he was like, all right, I'm gonna start looking around, and I'm gonna make that announcement. I'm gonna make it public. Let everybody know that you think about going pro. So when the announcement was made, I got a couple offers from Top Rank, Golden Boy, Daz, and when they first came out, it was a couple nice offers. And my dad had a friend, and his friend was like, yeah, man, your son's still fighting? He was like, yeah, he's still fighting, he's still moving around. He's thinking about going pro, looking for someone to sign with. And his friend was like, man, I'm going to reach out to my guy. He was like, okay. And come to find out, his guy was Derek Curry. And he reached out to Derek, and Derek was like, man, I'm going to come check out your son, talking to my dad. He's like, I'm going to check out your son, see what he can do. I'm gonna come watch him spar and watch him train one day. And so he comes like a month or so later, because my dad called him like every other day, like, you gonna come see my son train? You gonna come see my son train? You gonna come see my son train? He was like, all right, okay. And Derek, I remember after the fact, Derek was telling me, man, at first I wasn't even in a rush because it's like this 17-year-old, well, at the time I was 15 when he came and checked me out. I was 15 turning 16. He was like, this 15-year-old kid can't be that good. So he comes and checked me out, and he says the sparring was like amazing. The sparring was amazing. The watching me work out, it was amazing. But he said the thing he was most impressed with was the way I talked to him after I sparred and after I worked out and stuff. As far as like me as a person, what do I want to do other than boxing? Me thinking as an entrepreneur and a businessman. That's what he liked the most. And the rest is history.
Nice. You wasn't kidding. That's what it was. You was mature. I say you wasn't kidding. You was mature.
Yeah, everything was serious business like, and that's what he liked the most.
So then y'all in Washington right now? Y'all
Yes,
ain't
sir.
moving or nothing?
Nah.
So they plugged you up. You signed with Mayweather with the money team. So what's the plan? I know Corona done sidetracked you like it did everybody. But
heavy.
Yeah, what was the plan signing? What was the plan?
The plan was to sign after my 17th birthday on May 11th and then fight sometime late May or early June. But, since the whole Corona situation happened, the plan now is to fight sometime in October. Hopefully.
And I see, Top Rank jumped out ahead of everybody with the shows. And you seen how some of them shows even got some monkey wrenches thrown in there with people failing tests. But then PBC just put out a bunch of dates, huh?
Yeah.
They about to kick it out.
Started today, actually.
That's right. I seen that. Are y'all hoping to get on one of these dates or the next batch of fights or what? Or is it still in the air?
We're not sure. We're just, I leave the training to me, and I let like my dad and Leonard and Derek, I let them handle everything as far as setting up dates to fight.
That understanding right there is so much such an advantage, bro. Because you'll worry yourself silly, man, worrying about the business end of this thing. It's good that you got people that's looking out for you and is gonna make the moves for you. So just stay in shape and be ready when they do pull the trick. Because that's just how it happens, man. Look at. I don't care if you're a world champion, man. Look how shit just changes on a dime. People fall out
in a second.
Look at the most. I guess the biggest one recently was when the old boy failed all them steroid tests, and they thought they got a walkover. That boy ended up ass whooping Joshua and just a square, man. So even at the top level, the elite level of the pros, man, I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars, just like that overnight. Whoops, we messed up.
Yeah,
you messed up. So if you can focus just on that training, bro, that's such a big advantage, man. And now that your pop's back, I seen what Manny was talking about that father-son relationship, and I find that dynamics. Anybody who tells me they have a equation, boxing worked out, this plus this and this is how it works, they don't know what the fuck they talking about, man. Anybody says, I don't believe in father-son teams. That's limiting yourself out the gate because there's several successful father-son teams. I
feel like, in my opinion, most even if it's a father of a father-son team that says it don't work, or a fighter of a father-son team, or just anybody in general that says it doesn't work, I feel like that's a person who doesn't have like a bond or chemistry with their dad. Like I feel like me and my dad, like we do almost everything together. and leave it up to my other brothers and sisters, they like, man, Jalil, you dad favorite, you his favorite. And I used to be like, nah, but I tell him like, yeah, I know, because we always together.
Son, let me tell you something. Any parent that tells people they don't have a favorite kid, they lie, because they try not to hurt nobody's feelings. People is people, man. You meet people and you instantly get chemistry and like them, or you meet people and you're like, this ain't my type of dude. It's the same thing with your kids. You love them all. That's what parents who say that, I ain't got a favorite, they think you're asking them, do you love this kid more than, nah, I love them all. I do anything for all of them. But I can't stand this motherfucker. And this one here is my favorite. I've been having babies since your age, son. Don't do that. Don't do it. But I've been having babies since your age. I got 8 children, bro. And I absolutely got a favorite. It ain't no. It's just who you bind with. But this is what I'm gonna say. People will say the father-son teams, man. I got 3 boys, man. My oldest son is 24. I got a 17 and a 14. And I'm glad none of them wanted to fight, right? They learned to fight. They spar, box, all that shit. But like your pop said, my middle son, the athlete, he rather basketball and football, right? He's a dual athlete. But if they were to say, nah, Dave, we want to fight, man, ain't nobody gonna look after my son like me. So I'm gonna be there training him, and I'll give a damn. And if somebody say father-son teams, I'm gonna say, look at my other fighters. If I got success with them, you think I ain't gonna get success with my kid, with my own son, man? Anybody who think they got a foolproof plan with this shit, man, there's no government, there's no this is contract labor right here, man. This is contract work, man. If I get the job done, it's right. That's how you do it, right?
Basically.
Yes.
I tell a lot of them that. It's funny you say that. I tell a lot of people who ask that question, or they ask the question of who's the best trainer. I think they go hand in hand, because my answer to that is, how many world titles do we have? Even if we just look at the major 4, IBF, WA, WBC, IBO, if we look at those 4, no one coach coaches every single champion. So you got at least 4 coaches in each division that know what they're doing. So if they all know what they're doing and they all do it different ways, it's finding the mix of chemistry of fighter and coach. Not father and son. If it just happens to be father and son, that's great. But if it doesn't, it's a chemistry thing that has to develop. I look at Jojo Diaz. His father wasn't a boxer, and he took his son all the way to a world title, and he wasn't even a boxer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Listen, man. You're right, Coach, and I agree with you. This is the thing, man. And I tell everybody, Joe Louis was knocked out. You can be knocked out. Anybody can be knocked out. One punch changes everything. You can be. Michael Nunn was schooling James Toney, and in that 11th round or something got slipped, right? And this was a guy they were saying was the next Ray Leonard. You remember that, Coach, back in the 80s. And one shot put James Toney in the category of he's the man, and Michael Nunn is up. We got to see. My point to that is this. Michael Nunn was great, but my point to that was this. It's too many moving parts, bro, in boxing to sit there and pretend like you understand, because it's chemistry. It's one shot changes everything. Maybe a kid, you said something at the beginning, bro. Your son liked to fight. Yeah, these boys was boxing, but my son will get down. I knew what you meant. He'll go there and bite down. And if you ain't got that in you, I don't give a shit if you the box. It ain't gonna matter by the time it's over with. So The thing is, Jalil, and you can correct me anytime, if I go off on the tangent, bro. But listen, Jalil gonna have to lean on that dog sometime. Sometimes he gonna have to lean on that boxing. Sometimes he gonna have to lean on you as his trainer, right? He may be having a bad day. and you gotta light that fire on there.